Hey guys, welcome to Fellowship of the Frugal. My name is Daniel. Thank you for joining me today. In this video, I'm going to talk about how to get started with investing. So if you know that investing is something that you need to do, but you just don't know where to get started, this video is for you. Now this is only for beginners, so if you already know what you're doing, this may not be the one you want to watch, but I go through some of the best ways on getting started in the investment world, and hopefully it'll help you to take those steps to get started. And as always, if you like what you hear, if you had value gained from this, be sure to subscribe, check out my other videos, and I hope to see you again soon. Thank you. So in getting started with investing, the place that I always recommend to get started is with your employer. So if you work a job, especially at a corporation, you more than likely have access to a 401k through your employer. Now, especially if the company offers any kind of a match, the place you want to start is max out the match. So here's what I mean. If your company says something like there's a say a 4% match to whatever you put in your 401k, that means if you invest 4% of your income into that 401k, then for every dollar that you put in up to the 4%, the company is going to add another dollar. So they're going to match whatever you invest into the 401k. Now, to me, this is a no-brainer. It is a guaranteed 100% return on investment for the amount of money that you put in up to the max on the match. There's no other vehicle out there where you're guaranteed to have that kind of return. So whatever the match is, now it's going to vary from company to company, maybe 1%, maybe 5%, or somewhere in between. Absolutely max that out first before you look at anything else. It doesn't matter if it's a 401k traditional or a Roth 401k. It doesn't matter. Just take advantage of the full match, because that's going to guarantee that for every dollar you put in, you net a dollar on the other end, and they're doubling your money. Now, if you want to go above and beyond that, that's up to you. I know as of this video in 2023, the contribution max in a 401k is $22,500. If you're over the age of 50, you can put a little more than that in there for your retirement. So if you don't have a 401k option at your employer, you may have, especially if you work for a small business, you may have what's called a simple or a SEP IRA, which is going to be somewhat similar to the 401k. Those are just better for smaller companies. So if you don't work for a corporation, check with your employer to see if they offer any kind of investment vehicles like a simple IRA, a SEP IRA, or any others, just to make sure. More than likely, if you are investing through an employer's retirement plan, your options are limited on what you can invest in. It's typically going to be either mutual funds or the company stock or both. So that's not a bad thing. It just, you can't invest in everything that's out there with that. But the important thing is max out the match. That's step one on where to get started with investing. So if you have that option, that's absolutely where you want to start. Now, if you don't have that option available to you at all, or if you've already maxed out that, then I would go to the next recommendation here, which is going to be investing in your own IRA or individual retirement account. Now, I have a video, the link is posted here, where I talk about the differences between a traditional and a Roth IRA, and I also make recommendations on which one you should consider depending on what phase in life you're in or what kind of goal you're looking for down the road. So definitely check out that video if you're unclear about which one to invest in. As of this year, 2023, you can put up to $6,500 a year into your IRA, or if you're over the age of 50, you can have a little catch-up provision. You can invest $7,500 into each one. This is great because you don't have to put it in all at one time. If you were somebody that, say, wants to invest maybe $100 a month, then you can set up an IRA and set up an automatic investment plan, so at every month it debits your account, and you can put $100 in there, or whatever amount that you're looking for, as long as you stay below the max contribution limit. Now, there's also IRS rules depending on if you're employed, how much money you make, whether you can or cannot participate in an IRA. So I posted a link to the IRS website in my description to help kind of iron out if that's even an option for you. If it is, and you've maxed out the match at your company, your next step would be to look into an IRA. Now, there's all kinds of companies that offer these. You can look at a traditional brokerage firm. I used to work at one, and you can invest in just about anything that you wanted to. Now your bank may also offer an IRA. I would caution you on that, however, because if you are under the age of about 55, then IRAs in a bank tend to only offer you CD or money market rates. And if you're trying to grow money, that's not the way to do it. I would only say go to a bank to get an IRA if you're just trying not to lose your money. If the interest rate and the gaining isn't as big of a deal to you, if you just want to keep it safe, then that's a good vehicle. But otherwise, I would just use another company where you have investment options outside of fixed money. You also have a lot of banks that offer an IRA outside of a traditional bank platform. They may have like an investment department that you can get an IRA in. Now that's fine. That's going to be about the equivalent of going into another separate company altogether and having your own IRA. But the IRA is not tied directly to your job. You keep it with you wherever you are. So even if you change jobs, it stays with you, and you can continue to invest in it month after month. And there's a lot of tax savings advantages in there. But again, check out the video that I posted a minute ago to see the differences, and that's a great place to go as well to look at your investment options after you max out the company match in your 401k. And again, with IRAs, for the most part, you can invest in anything under the sun. There's stocks, there's bonds, mutual funds, ETFs, index funds, there's all kinds of things. If what I just said was a foreign language, then check out this video. I talk about some of those options and go through them and what they mean and why you should consider them for your own investments. But that's a great place to start as well. So far, I've said I would start with your company in the 401k match. Next, if you've maxed that out, I would look at going to an IRA next. If you've maxed that out or maybe can't do it because of your income limitations, then the other option I would consider would be an investment retail account. Now these can usually be done at the same companies where you have an IRA, but the reason these accounts are different is because they don't have the IRS rules on them the same way that an IRA does. And what I mean by that is, since there's no tax advantages like a tax-free income or tax-free growth, for example, you can put a lot more money into it. So you're not restricted the same way you are with an IRA on, well, how much money do you make versus how much can you invest, or if you have this offered at your company, can you do this? Most of the rules are off the table with a retail investment account. So you can invest $100 a month or $100,000 or more at one time. It doesn't matter. And for most people, if you invest a certain dollar amount and the dollar amount grows in the account, most people are going to be taxed on the growth in some form or another. And I've posted a video in my description to give you a good breakdown of how those taxes work out. That's kind of a complicated subject that I'm not going to cover here, but check out the video in the description to help kind of break it down to see if maybe you would be taxed on that depending on your situation. The retail accounts are great in addition to the ones that I've already mentioned. Again, you can have any type of investment in there that you want for the most part. If you like all in one company, you can do that. If you like all bonds, if you like mutual funds, those are going to be available to you in that retail investment account. And you can put as much or as little into it as you want. I used to work with people who would put $50 in there and then just leave it, and that was it. Now, that wouldn't do a whole lot of good for you, but it's an option. It's very flexible. So most companies, most brokerage firms, most investment companies will have an option to do that in addition to the IRA. So if you do look for a company that has an IRA, you can probably open a retail investment account in the same company and just have them all in one place and just keep it easier for you if you're monitoring it online. Now, I know that the good news with those is you can invest in whatever you want, but the bad news is also you can invest in whatever you want, and it can be pretty intimidating. You may not know where to start. So again, in the video that I referenced where I talk about investing for beginners, I mentioned, and I'll mention again here, that if you really have no idea where to start and no clue on who to ask or where to go, I would start with something as simple as an exchange traded fund or ETF that's meant to mirror the S&P 500. I would just start there if you don't have any other options. That way it just mirrors whatever that stock exchange is doing, and over time that's done pretty well over the long stretch of time, so more than likely you'll have some growth in there as well. You can have losses, don't get me wrong, but over the long term the S&P 500 has done well. So if you get an ETF that is meant to match it, then that'll match the growth of that exchange as well. So that's probably where I would get started. But if you do know what you're doing and you can pick your funds that you want or your investment vehicles, then by all means, those IRAs and retail investment accounts can do that for you. So That's all I'm going to cover in this video: the employer 401k, IRA, and then retail investment account. More than likely, if you're watching at this point, you really don't know where to get started, or you didn't know before you watched the video. I would only consider those if you're looking to get started. Anything beyond that, like real estate or investment clubs or hedge funds, you're going to have to already know about investing before you get into something like that. So that's not what this video is for. So for those of you who are beginners, that's where I would look, and then in that order as well. So I hope you find this information helpful. I hope that you do take initiative to get started with investing if you have not already. And if you like what you hear, be sure to subscribe. It really helps me to know that you're paying attention and listening, and that this information is helpful. Check out my other videos on investing if you have questions about those, and I hope to continue to see you around. Thank you.